All right, let's talk a little bit about energy pies and how to diagram them. So when we were doing our financial asset example, to start out, we said, your pie is made up of various pieces here. And if energy went from one piece of pie to the other, excuse me, the whole pie didn't get bigger or smaller. It just moved from one piece to the other. So we want to keep that same thing as we do our energy pies. So as you do this, just a couple of rules here. You are going to identify the system as the universe. So energy may get dissipated or become unusable, but it's not going to disappear. So your pie is always going to stay the same size. And I'm going to limit you to the five major types that we talked about. So energy that's kinetic, energy that's gravitational, energy that's stored in chemicals or e-chem, elastic, and then energy that's been dissipated. We'll just use dis. All right. And then a couple of rules that go along with energy that's dissipated. So number one, once energy is dissipated, that means it is in an unusable form and it can't ever come back and do anything productive for us again. So because energy is the ability to do work or cause change, this doesn't have that. So rule number one with energy that's dissipated is we're never going to start any situation with energy that's dissipated in the first pie. So that can wait till the second pie if you have to use it. The second rule is once you get a pie slice that is dissipated, it never gets smaller. It can only grow. So be careful when you put it in there because it always has to be the same size or bigger in the next one. And then lastly, you have to be reasonable in your estimations of how big the pieces of pie should be, but they don't have to be perfect. The one thing that you can estimate pretty well is energy due to, not gravity, gravity. So for example, if we have a ball here and here, if this is an energy pie that represents all of the energy, this one is half as high. So our formula for E gravity is mass times gravity times height. Well, gravity never changes. This ball is the same in both situations, so it's got the same mass. The only thing that's different is the height. And if the height is half as much, the energy is half as much. If the ball were down here, it would be about 1/4 of the full thing. So that's the one thing that I'll expect you to estimate pretty clearly. So let's do a couple of examples to get you through this. We're going to label each situation, and then we're going to have a pie for each scenario that this goes through. So for example, in this thing, we see a ball, and the little dot indicates that there's no motion, and then a little larger velocity, and then finally a bigger velocity. And for this problem, it's hard to see on the video, but we're going to assume it hasn't hit the ground yet, and it's moving very quickly just before it hits. So as I look at this first piece of pie, and this one will take a little bit longer because we'll go through all of it. There is no E kinetic because the object's not moving. There's no E elastic. There's nothing stretched or compressed. There's no E chemical involved in this. And we all agreed that there's no energy dissipated in the first pie. So the only thing this can have is E gravity. And it's 100% E gravity. Now the ball starts to fall. Let me label these pies, like I said I had to. And so now it started to fall. I can see that it's about 2/3 of where it was before. So I'm going to make about 2/3 of this pie E gravity. And now the ball's moving. So that's E kinetic. And then finally in my last piece of pie, I can see it's moving really quickly. Pretty much all the E gravity is gone. If you wanted to put E gravity in this, you could put like a line and just go E gravity. I would actually be completely fine with you leaving it out and assuming that it's going pretty much all E kinetic. If you insist on putting E gravity in there, it's a super, super, super tiny slice representing the little tiny space yet before it hits the ground. So 100% E gravity, about 2/3 E gravity. It's turned into E kinetic. And then finally, pretty much all E kinetic. Okay? So you can use that example for this one. Just remember, in this situation, that the ball is moving up very quickly, and then up not very fast, and then not up at all, and then down fast, and then down really fast. Okay? And for a couple of these scenarios, like this one and the ball bouncing, we don't really want to deal with any horizontal motion, but it's almost impossible to show a ball going up and down on a straight line because you won't know where it's going up and going down. So this is just sort of a convention of showing it kind of stretched out to the right so you can see the up part and the down part separately. But assume that there is zero horizontal motion as you do that. All right, so let's do one right here. So we have a wind-up toy. So I'll do my 3 pies. We'll label them A, B, and C. And I have a wind-up toy that's going to walk across the table and come to a stop. So just talking through this is probably a spring of some sort in there where it's all wound up. And at the moment we see it in the first pie, it's already moving with a pretty high velocity. So there's some energy stored in the spring, there's some kinetic energy of the object moving, and what we see is it slows down and stops, which implies that this energy gets dissipated. Now my pies are messed up here, but they should all be the same size. So let's just start with this thing. We know it's moving, so it's got some E kinetic, and we can assume that there's some wind-up energy stored. Now I have no idea exactly how much that is. And since I don't know, I'm just going to split it evenly into E kinetic and E elastic. All right? Now as I go to my next piece of pie, I see that the velocity is less. So I have less E kinetic. How much less do I have? I don't know, but it can't be half. So I'm going to go over to here, and I'm just going to take part of it out, and I'm going to make that my E kinetic. That's less. And I know that the spring is unwinding, and it's losing some of the energy stored there, so my E elastic can't be half. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to take part of that out. And now I have less E kinetic, and I have less E elastic. Where did it go? It got dissipated. So that's where my last piece of pie starts to pick some up. And then finally, as I get to situation C, no energy stored in the spring, no movement, no gravity, no chemicals, just an object sitting there. At this point, all of the energy that we started with has been dissipated, so it's 100% energy that's dissipated. So we've done one with gravity, we've done one with a wind-up toy with some kinetic and elastic. I'm going to leave a couple here for you. Let's talk about a truck being driven down the street. Okay? So this one, some people want to cheat this one just a little bit, and they'll be like, well, the truck has the same mass, and it has the same velocity in all 3 situations, so it's just 3 pies with the same kinetic energy. But we have to recognize that something's causing the truck to drive, and it can't drive forever at that velocity. There's gas in the tank of that truck. So, I don't have any gravity. We're going to assume no elastic. So this is going to be all about energy that's being dissipated from chemical energy, and we've got kinetic energy because there's motion. Again, I have no idea what the ratio is, so I'm just going to start with E chem and E kinetic. Now here's my trick. Because the truck is the same mass and the same velocity, the kinetic has to stay the same the whole time. The truck isn't speeding up or slowing down. Now if you want to argue a little bit, if you're using some gas, the mass of the truck gets slightly less, which means I suppose the E kinetic goes down slightly, but we're not going to factor that in. But regardless, I'm going to keep that E kinetic piece the same because it's the same mass and velocity each time. But what is happening is that my chemical energy stored in the gasoline is going down. So I'm going to make that smaller, and I'm going to show that a portion of that energy was dissipated. And following my rules, if the truck keeps driving, the energy dissipated pie can't get any smaller. It's got to get bigger or stay the same. So I'm just going to split this up now. And since it's kind of hard to fit it in there, I'll call this Echem. And this Edis. So there's a progression of the kinetic energy staying the same, but the chemical energy getting less and less as it goes across. Now that's not an example of all three of them, but that should at least get you started on working through some of the other ones. And let's just take a look at this thing just to give you some guidelines. I won't draw the pies, but we'll talk through it. What I see here is a ball being thrown up in the air. So it has velocity, so I'm assuming there's going to be some E kinetic. It's got a tiny little bit of E gravity. There's no chemical, there's no elastic, and it doesn't hit the ground. So we're going to throw out friction and air resistance and assume there's nothing dissipated. So this is all about E gravity and E kinetic in this one. For number 4, I have a ball. And remember, no horizontal motion is implied here. So at this point, this thing is just getting ready to drop. And if I let go of it, it hits the ground and it stops and it squishes. And why does it bounce back up? Well, it's a rubber ball, and so it's got some E-elastic. So it doesn't bounce as high each time. That means energy is being dissipated. So what we're looking at here is gravity and elastic and some dissipation. And then for number 5, we've got a rock pushed down on a spring, which we can see is compressed compared to the other ones. It's not moving. So some energy is stored up in the spring. Then somebody lets go of it, and the rock goes flying into the air. It's got some movement, so it's got E kinetic. And then over here, we see the rock or the object is at its maximum height. The springs are no longer compressed in either of these two things. So it does stop, but it's not going to stay there forever. If it did, like a ball rolling to rest or an object falling and splatting on the ground, it would be dissipated. But this has got energy, it's going to fall again. So there is energy stored here, and because it's up high, think E gravity. We got a piece of clay. It gets dropped to the floor. It's not moving in the first one, but it does have energy stored in it. Up high, so think about gravity. Still in the air, but it has some movement, so gravity and kinetic. And then finally it hits the ground and just stops. So that energy is then gone. It's not in a usable form anymore. Again, not assuming any air resistance or friction, so no loss in the air. Then for number 7, you just have a ball rolling across the floor and stopping. And if there were no friction, the ball would roll forever. So in this case, we are assuming friction for this one because it is coming to a stop. And so think about what you see when it comes in. It's moving slower, and it stops. All right, so where does that energy go? That's kind of a long video, but hopefully it helps you get through some of these examples and figure out how to do the energy pie problems.